Hey guys, welcome to our fourth episode of Deception in Healthcare in America with Kathy Ann and Jennifer. And today we will be talking about postpartum depression. Kathy Ann is going to give a lot of the facts because it hits home for her. So she's going to kind of go into symptoms and just different things with you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her.
So postpartum depression is a mood disorder that can develop after birth. That's like the simplistic definition of it. There's a lot of symptoms, from being sad to crying to having trouble falling asleep, losing your appetite, feeling moody. You don't enjoy life anymore. Have problems bonding with the baby. Your symptoms can totally range. My symptoms were a little bit different. I didn't have extreme symptoms. Mine was like brain fog, I guess. I'll try to explain it to you. If you're overwhelmed and there's a lot of things to do, and there's so much to do that you decide to do nothing.
Oh, wow.
That was mine. So I couldn't do anything. And I did not enjoy life, I guess. I mean, I had happy moments, but it wasn't like before where I was super happy. I was just like, I don't know, I was going to hold a baby all day. That just seemed like my life. And it wasn't.
You're just out of touch, kind of like you just weren't engaged. It was hard to engage. It was too exhausting, even.
Yeah, it was
It's easier
exhausting.
to.
I had no motivation. That was mine. And I did tell my doctor I felt like I had postpartum depression. And she said that I had the baby blues and that every mother goes through this. But I didn't think that she was right. I thought I had postpartum depression, but she just said, this is how new mothers are. Welcome to being a mother. And I didn't get treatment for 2 years for postpartum depression because they said it was normal. And I did not believe it was normal.
So you have three girls. So was this with Karina, your first one, or was
So with
this?
the first one, so yes, this is with the first one, and I
Mhm.
never got treatment for it. Okay. And so then I had a
Wow.
second one 2 years later, and it
Hmm.
kind of coincided with when my mom died. So
Wow.
I did take the postpartum depression test, which they don't give to all new mothers, by the way. I don't know why they don't give it,
I'm
but
glad you hit on that because it could just it could stop a lot of that before they even leave the hospital.
yeah, it's a simple. I think it's 10 questions, and
Mhm.
all they have to do is give it to the new mother and let them take the test. But the second time they did give me the test, and because my mom had died, my doctor decided that she would put me on Zoloft, 50 milligrams, and like, I'm serious. Within about a week, I was a whole new person.
Oh, wow.
Seriously. So for 2 years, I was just like in a brain fog. It was, I was living life, but I wasn't like super happy. I couldn't get things done. And then all of a sudden, you know, a week on medicine, and within a month, I was my old self again. So after my second daughter put on Zoloft, I was back to normal. And then I had a third daughter. And since I had postpartum depression, or I was diagnosed with it with a previous child, they went ahead and just put me on Zoloft again. And I was fine. But
So
can
you
I
needed
want to,
that serotonin uptake, right? That's what they're called. It's like an uptake in serotonin,
yes.
which
So it's,
when for those that don't even know, I was reading something about when you deliver a baby, everybody's serotonin kind of almost like bottoms out because when you deliver your placenta, those hormones get disrupted, and serotonin is, I guess, in the brain, right? And
mhm.
so it says that bottoms out for everyone. Well, within the next, like, I guess, day or two or three, it's supposed to uptake itself, and so I guess that's where some people's just doesn't.
Yes.
So you had
So,
to kind of go in there and manually, I guess, enforce that.
yes. So yeah, but it was sad because I went 2 years. I felt like I wasted 2 years. And
Mhm.
I did verbally tell my doctor I believed I had postpartum depression, and and she'd never treated me. But on that same point, there's a article. It's called "Depression and Treatment Among U.S. Pregnant and Non-Pregnant Women of Reproductive Age," and it goes on to say that postpartum depression is underdiagnosed and untreated, and nearly 60% of women with symptoms do not receive a clinical diagnosis, and 50% of women with a diagnosis don't receive any treatment. So that just goes to show you how ignored it is.
Yeah.
So, and so we both found different statistics on postpartum depression, but so mine say about 10 to 15% of new mothers, and that's from Postpartum Depression, a review in 2012, and then another one from 2021 called Mapping Global Prevalence of Depression. But 15% seems pretty low to me. You had a different figure?
Yeah, well, and it was from a different they just, I guess they had used a different whatever way of doing that, but it was 1 out of 4. It was either 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4. I want to say it was 1 out of 4. And I actually have some experience with it because I had someone that I knew pretty well. They were actually on the severe end, and they actually called their doctor a few days after they got home. They knew something was terrible wrong, like just everything in them told them. So they called themselves, and the doctor, just said, "Oh, it's fine. It's the baby blues," like you said. And I'd like you to go back and hit on that in a minute, if you will, about
Yeah.
the difference in knowing how to differentiate baby blues and actual depression, whether it's mild to severe. But this lady's was actually quite severe. And she knows our family. So I ended up, she called on help. And so I ended up being around for, inserted ourselves in different periods of time. Anyway, she ended up being, they just he just dismissed it, and him or her, whatever, I don't know, her gynecologist, dismissed it. And, yeah, within probably 3 or 4 days later, a couple of us stepped in and actually got her some help, and it was actually very severe. We later found out, just how bad it was, but it's sad because there you go. There's somebody that actually cried for help on their own, which is very brave. A lot of women will just sit there and be like, "I don't know why I feel like this," or they'll have other family members tell them. Because, our generation is just now, we have such a wealth of information, and people actually, share experiences. I don't know if that's because of technology and social media, but, women are stepping forward talking about a lot more things than they used to. And back when our moms were mothers, they would have never spoke on something like this, or they may have told their mom or whatever woman was in their life, or aunts, maybe, or great grandmas. And, because I had asked my grandma about this, what did you guys, because my grandma is still alive. She's 89 years old, for those listening. But like, I just got a different perspective for her. What did you guys think on this? She said that was never a topic. That was not a discussion. And if, your mom or whatever, or even they told their children, she said that's not an issue that we were even aware of. It wasn't even spoken about. But if my daughter, she said, if my daughter, which they didn't, but if my daughter or daughters would have told me they were experiencing something like that, I would have told them, "Oh, honey, that just comes with having a baby." And
Yeah.
so, so our moms weren't aware of something like that. You and I, I'll be honest, when I had my kids, I'd never even heard of postpartum depression. I didn't. I'd never heard of it. So I would love to hear how you even knew to look to, how were you aware that that's what was going on? Because now I know today, like, for my daughter's generation, the women that are having babies anywhere, I don't know, from 18, 19, 20 years old and up, it's just more, there's an awareness now, like so many things. And so I would love to hear your take on that. Those two things of the differentiating the baby blues from the actual depression, and how did you know what was going on?
So I think that the baby blues is just less severe. So, you go home and you're overwhelmed. It's the first time you're a mother, maybe,
Mhm.
and you feel different. Maybe you feel like your life is what you had before is no longer. And now
Mhm.
you have a new, like an identity crisis
Mhm.
almost. And now you're doing laundry for 3 instead of 2. And then the but it's just a less severe form, and it'll just go away. You just adapt. Where
Mhm.
as postpartum depression, I mean, it's more severe, and it doesn't go away.
So
There
it's
has
like
to be.
heavier, it's too much. It's just really
It is.
heavy. You
It
can't
is.
shake it kind of thing.
So no, I mean, you can try. You can put on a smile, but
Mhm.
that doesn't make it go away. You have to
Right.
address it.
Right.
So I got relief from medication. It was pretty quick, and I was back to normal very quickly. There's other things that sometimes they prescribe, like counseling, talk it out with somebody, a support group. Um, I'm not really sure how that would help, but
Right.
if you have
Yeah.
like an imbalance in your brain from after giving birth, I don't know. Um, I mean, I speak about it a lot actually, and I talked about it as I went through it. Nobody really, I really didn't get a lot of support, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. They're just like, just get over it. Just like, so it's going to sound weird. So you have laundry to do and the dishes are piling up, and somebody says, just do the dishes, just put the
Mhm.
laundry in the wash. But somehow in your brain, you can't do it. You're just overwhelmed, and it doesn't make any sense. But that's the way I felt. I felt there's so much to do, so I can't do anything. And when I
Right.
say it, it sounds ridiculous, but it's real.
Right. I mean, well, that's your brain, like your brain. So when something's off for you, that I guess that serotonin is low, which controls your mood and
Uh-huh.
appetite.
Uh-huh.
I was reading on serotonin; it controls your mood and your appetite. So, I mean, that's like our whole life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean? Especially as moms, like you got to be able to control your mood, and then but anyway, that's just really scary, and it's really disturbing and upsetting, and it's just so many things. But I have not been like on that end of it. I guess I may have experienced the baby blues, like because I can identify with the. It's like your whole world is like it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And then you had all this help, and then when everybody leaves, that's when it really hits.
Yeah.
So it's not like what you're saying, like it's just there. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's like you're saying you're in such a funk. It's like, oh my gosh, like I can't,
It
almost
just
like your
keeps
feet are
piling
stuck
on.
in cement. Like I can't like take another step. Like it's
Yeah.
just sounds really horrific. And I watched someone go through it, but um I just noticed like the lady that I knew, she didn't eat. Like she would not eat anything that
Uh-huh.
anyone tried to bring her. She couldn't sleep. She was sleeping like 30 minutes at a time, and
Yeah.
ended up taking some type of medication. It was a whatever you call the serotonin, the uptake
Zoloft. It was Zoloft or
medication.
sertraline.
I'm not sure which one. I think it was Zoloft actually. Um, but like within 48 hours, 72 hours, she said she was like, oh my gosh, she felt like she'd lost a bunch of time. She felt like, she cried because she was trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I don't remember, a whole lot that went on from, her mind went right back to before she delivered her, while she delivered. And
Uh-huh.
then it was just really, it was emotional.
Yeah.
She had to process that, and then felt like that was taken, or she lost that. And
Well,
some simple questions in the hospital, like
it's
you
funny.
and I have talked about, would have avoided, like she could have avoided. A lot of women can avoid this whole situation. It's like, because your answers would be different from those of a mother that just feels overwhelmed or scared to go home. There would
Yeah.
be a different answer for a
Yeah.
series of questions.
And I think that's why the statistics are off, is because it's
Mhm.
not diagnosed. And
Right.
so they don't really have the real numbers. So
Right.
where one study says, one study might not. I mean, it's probably a lot. And here are some of the questions. I mean, I have looked forward with enjoyment to things. As much as I ever did, rather less, definitely less, hardly at all. I mean, these questions are so simple. I have felt scared or panicky for no good reason. Yes, sometimes. Yes, not much. Yes, not at all. Or no, not at all. Things have been getting on top of me, and then varies from yes, yes to no, no. And
Mhm.
I felt sad or miserable. I mean,
Right.
shouldn't the doctor just ask you how have you been feeling after when you go for
Right.
your
And there would
post
have
birth
been
appointment? I
there would have
mean,
been no happy answer for you in that series of questions. There would have been no happy answer for so many women in that series of questions. And other than saying, oh yeah, no, I'm just panicked to go home and be by myself with the baby, that would be a normal or an expected response. But to say, no, I'm just panicking for no reason. I don't even know why I'm panicking. Like I can't, function.
Yeah. It's
not that hard.
Yeah. So, and the
Especially for
fact,
the doctors who do this, that's what they do. They
well,
should know. They should
it's
be.
a part of their whole job is
Mhm.
caring for women before, during, and after birth. But I think it's funny that the person you knew asked for help. I asked for help and I identified that I believed I had it, but we were both ignored. And I think
Mhm.
that's a really big problem. If somebody says, I need help, I don't know why you would turn them away. You would say, let's talk about this. Let's figure this out, instead of saying, oh, this is normal. I mean, if somebody is asking for help, it goes beyond normal, right?
Definitely. And this kind of falls into our last podcast of misdiagnosed. I mean, this kind of does, it just kind of falls right in line, it branches off of that. I mean, ironically,
Yeah.
it's misdiagnosed because it's not even diagnosed. It's just, oh, you'll be fine. It's just the baby blues. And most gynecologists, I think, are men. I looked at the statistics on that as well. And it's like, what does a man really know about, other than I know you watch it and you do it every day, so you're the doctor or whatever, and that's all great. And we love you guys and we appreciate everything that you do, especially when you're good at your job. But what in the world do you know about what it feels like to give birth, whether you push the baby out or whether you have a C-section? What in the world do you know anything about that? Nothing.
Okay,
You
that
you
is
know
like such
nothing
a
about
good
what it
point.
feels like.
That's like the perfect point, because I actually chose a woman on purpose, and she was
Mm.
within like 5 years of me, so we were at the same age, and we actually had a baby at the same time. Um, but that's why I chose a woman, because she knows what it's like, what it feels like, and we could relate to each other. And so you're right. What does a man know about having a baby? What does he know about like what we think in our head? And because women tend to be emotional, and what does a
Well,
man?
even aside from that, like a man doesn't push a baby out of his body or have it cut out of his body. He will never and has no clue anything about that.
He has no clue on,
Mm.
yeah, on what it feels
Even
like
just taking the
to carry a
emotion out
baby,
of it,
and then
because I mean, there's men out here that have the sympathetic pregnancies with their women, and apparently, they kind of they have this thing where they have this what is it? It's called a help me. You know what I'm
um,
talking about?
I do know
It's
what
like
you're
where
talking
men
about.
have it's like the sympathy pregnancy, like they
Yeah,
apparently go through all the same emotions, which is kind of funny. But
spare me.
um, even to take the emotions out of it, it's like we're not even even if you just take that out of it, which is
Yeah.
because your hormones fluctuate like it's insane
Well, they would
from like
never. A
probably
man would never know about how
yeah
your
from the
hormones
first
fluctuate.
trimester
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And then once your hormones get disrupted from delivery, and then they have to go back and regulate again. And I think it takes a woman's body, I read, 2 to 3 years to recover from a birth. Your body, everything to get back ready to actually have like another pregnancy at what you would call 100%, if you will.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's
So,
believable.
mhm.
So
So anyway, I don't know. So you had a woman with all three of your
yeah, I have the
births.
same person. I have the same person.
Wow. So that's interesting that, she didn't take a second look at, like didn't even raise an eyebrow at what you were saying.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
That
actually, I have had this discussion with somebody else before. I don't know why she did that. I honestly don't know why she ignored me that way. And to be honest with you, I really liked her a lot, by the way. I
mm-hmm,
went back to her for all the rest of my kids, even though
mm-hmm,
she did ignore me, and all I needed was medication, and I forgave her for that.
mm-hmm.
But I cannot say why she didn't listen to me and give me medication the first time around. And I want to circle back because you said that your person felt like she lost time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I felt like I lost time.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me having a third child, and I really told this to my husband, but I felt like I missed out, and I wanted to have a third child because I felt like I missed out from the first two, because the first time around, I felt like I lost those years. I wasn't, I mean, I was happy, but it was just a lot of brain fog. And it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was in the moment enjoying. And then I had my second one 2 years later. And, and while I had the medication, I felt like now I missed out for the first 2 years. And now I have two little ones and I'm juggling everything. So when they were a little older, I wanted to have a third one
Mhm.
just to like the slate's clean. My other two are a little older. We're going
Right.
to have like the ideal pregnancy, birth, and infant stages, you know?
Right.
So I understand the feeling of loss, that you lost time. And yeah, it didn't have to be that way. And
Right.
it's a little sad
That's
actually.
yeah, that's why we're doing this podcast. Anybody out there? I mean, this is actually really, really common. I mean,
It
I can
is.
only imagine how many women, just out of women that we know on Facebook, if they were to start listening to this, I mean, I bet it's really high. I wouldn't even doubt if it was upwards of 60% of women, if just all the women we knew jumped on and were listening at the
Yeah.
same time. Really high. Like 1 in 4, that's a lot. I got
Yeah.
those statistics from it's like a test, a medical person that I know. Um, she's an RN with some titles behind her name, but anyway, she sent me to I was just asking some questions because I was trying to learn more about this, but she sent me to a website that someone like herself is aware of and would go and use. And there was like two different ones, but that's where I got those statistics because that many women are directed towards that website by
Uh-huh.
doctors to go and then they say, call me back or let me see that test, go take
Mhm.
that and talk. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's interesting too, that you wouldn't call them in your office, by the way. Apparently that's really common. This
Uh-huh.
was from a labor and delivery nurse that I talked to. This is
Wow.
from a labor and delivery nurse, by the way. She wasn't just an RN, just in some doctor office. I
Yeah.
mean, she did this she'd been doing this for about 15 years when we were having this conversation. Anyway, I mean, she knew. That's why I contacted her. I've
Uh-huh.
known her for years, and I thought, you know what? You have these little people in the back of your mind. You're like, and I called her because it's just trying to get some direction. But um, she was even aware how dismissed that this issue is. It's just one of those things. It's like, and it's funny enough. You come around to all the way back through history. It's like women are always, it's like we're just kind of tucked back there, and it's like
Yeah.
women and women's issues is like it's always been that way. It's like women have suffered and gone through all kinds of things, like even way 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 back. I don't know the time period, but back when women, if you go back and look at how they treated women and put the devices on them where they would
Yeah. The
put
chastity
them in
belt.
yes, the
Is that
chastity
term?
belts.
Yeah.
We'll lost for words there for a minute. I mean, that's just, I mean, women have just always kind of been, we've just taken a back seat as far as healthcare. It just wasn't, and this is just another one of those things. It just happens to
Yeah.
be, 2025. I mean, but this has been going on. And so, but back to where you were saying you felt like you lost time, I think we can maybe help some people that are trying to sit there and figure out, as far as a symptom. It seemed to me like um, that would be a symptom that you could go on if you feel like you can't be present in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, I don't think that we could, if we, I hate to label stuff as normal, I hate doing that, but I hate that. I think that that would be an abnormal feeling if you just couldn't be present in the moment, like at all, like you
Yeah.
just almost having an out of body experience or something, because that's kind of what that is. And
Yeah.
it's a fight or flight thing. That's what our bodies do. When your brain can't handle something, our brains are amazing. They're going to they're going to do stuff like that, and that's what it was protecting itself. Your
Mhm.
body, it was protecting itself. So, and that's a
And
symptom. That's what we call a symptom.
and there's also like a stigma, almost like I'm not mentally ill. This isn't like a mental illness. I
No,
mean, this is
no,
fixable. And so you
yeah.
shouldn't be embarrassed or afraid to say, "Hey, I need help. This is
Mhm.
fixable." You know?
Quickly
So
by what I saw, with the lady I saw. I mean, we're talking like 2 days. Within 3 days, this lady was, yeah, on top
yeah.
of the world. Actually said they felt so good it was scary, and I'm like, well,
Actually,
But I mean,
can I tell you
it's
that
amazing that you
Zoloft,
can go
she,
from yeah, Zoloft.
if she was on Zoloft,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you, at least for me, like a feeling that you're almost invincible, that
Mm-hmm.
you can conquer the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually, I stayed on it after a while because I ended up getting a master's degree, and my doctor said you can just stay on it. And I felt like I could. I had I would had 2 kids. I was working on a master's degree while I was pregnant with a third, and but but yes, um,
And that's
and
amazing.
that's probably,
I mean,
yeah.
that's amazing. And people need to know there that, if that's what you're dealing with, I mean, that it's that simple. And
It
yeah,
is.
is it sit there and be miserable and even maybe do something that you wouldn't even normally do? Like there's women that harm their babies or themselves, and that's
Oh
not
yeah.
them. That's not them. They
Yes.
do not have, you do not have control, and you cannot control it and don't think you can. But depending on your severity, which you shouldn't leave that to your own um self to try to diagnose, am I mild, am I semi-mild, am I severe, mild, super severe, whatever, because it goes from mild to severe. I mean, you shouldn't sit there and try to figure that out. Don't That's not for you to do, and don't take that on. That's stressful, and let your doctor do that.
Yeah.
And advocate for yourself and ask and say, you can even go in there and sit down and say, look, I know myself, I know maybe you don't, and then maybe the person does. Like with you felt like your doctor, you expected a little more. Whatever the expectation is here, like I cannot leave, and I'm going to sit here until I get some help because I'm scared to go home by myself. I'm scared to
Yeah.
go home and be with my baby. You need to tell them that, and if they won't listen, we'll go somewhere else. I guess go to a minor
Yep.
care or something.
Yep. Yep.
Someone's going to listen to you. I promise
Someone
you.
will
Yes.
listen. So
Yeah.
you have to recognize, and hopefully your somebody else around you will recognize, because I know that you were an advocate for your person.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it and you tried to get help, and I felt like in your situation, uh, it was worse than mine, almost, because mine was less severe, and yeah, I was kind of pushed to the side, but somebody is like begging for help and everyone can see it but the doctor. So you have to advocate for yourself. You have to recognize, say something. Don't think you're a bad person, or there's a stigma to this,
Mm-hmm.
because we just had a baby, okay?
Right.
That
Which is
that's a
more,
big
which is
thing.
another one of those things that's really serious. Like childbirth is one of the most dangerous things. Like go read about that. It's
Uh,
incredible what our bodies go through to have a baby. And it's like, oh, she just had a baby, or it's just the way that it's another
yeah,
one of those things. It's like, well, women have babies all the time. Yeah, they do, and a lot of women die giving birth or right after birth.
yeah.
I'm I'm sorry.
Even
It's not.
today.
It's very serious. It's very
Yeah,
serious.
right.
You're Yeah, it's very serious, but yeah, and also don't be afraid if you see someone in your family, like a niece or a neighbor or somebody, if you need to advocate for them, jump in there. And if they come to you and they ask for help, like what happened to me, because I happen to be a person, I guess people think medical I mean, I just do food, but a lot of people, I get a lot of questions sometimes, or people look to me and I'm like, whoa, well, I can help you. I don't know the answer, but I will help you find it. And you were one of the first people I called and asked about the postpartum because I knew that you had dealt with that, and even you were unfamiliar with the severity this lady was dealing with. So I was like, whoa, this is pretty serious here. And I had to get several people involved, and and everything turned out okay. But it was pretty wow. I mean, I have no words for what I some of the stuff I saw. I mean, it's just incredibly sad. And it's not even like this person was sitting there and someone just noticed. It's like, they asked for help first, and then they, you know,
Yeah.
after that could have gotten lost in the, anyway. So like, I guess, there's crying, there's difficulty bonding with the baby. So like, if you just don't want to bond with your baby, you have no desire, like this lady didn't want to even hold her baby. She didn't want to try to nurse her baby. She didn't even want to bottle feed her baby. The other people were taking turns doing that. And um, I remember she was wanting to be by herself and things like that. Just different people you would talk to, everyone was seeing the same thing. And so no sleep at all. Yeah, just all that kind of stuff. That's definitely not normal.
Yeah, and mine was sleep too. I developed insomnia, but there's just so many symptoms. There's just too many to list. If you
Right,
don't feel right, if you don't
right.
feel normal, after a week, I mean, say something. Go get help. Tell your doctor. Hopefully, they give you the test. I don't know why they
Just give
wouldn't
them
give
a
it to every
test.
single person. So, um,
You know what?
but
I
yeah,
owned a drug testing company for like 16 years, and one of our don't anymore, but our whole slogan was don't guess, just test. And you can apply that to so many situations that you deal
yeah,
with. I mean, it's come on, don't guess, just test.
it's
And it's verbal. It's not even a blood test. It's like a 2 or 3 minute screening
yeah,
process that they do. The
yeah,
nurses can even do it.
yes,
I mean, you send the breastfeeding educators in, but you can't do this. This is as important as breastfeeding is. I'm the biggest advocate for that out there, but this takes a second, seat to the mental health evaluation before someone leaves. It's just you can't have anything go right if you don't have your mental health in order when you leave that place. And it is not, like you said, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It just
yeah,
happens and you cannot control it. There's
you
nothing you
cannot.
can do to stop it. Either you experience it or you don't. So
Yes.
that
So
simple.
that's postpartum depression, you guys. It hits a lot of women after birth. If you don't feel right, get help. Symptoms vary from, I mean, they vary wildly to just
Mm,
mild anxiety and sadness to wanting to harm yourself and anything in between. So if you feel any of those and you don't feel happy or the same as you were before, then please get help.
right.
Someone will hear you. There's a simple screening test. There's medication, support groups, counseling. Um, please get help.
Definitely. Please get help and ask someone for help. I promise you, someone will help you. Someone will help
Yes.
find help.
Well, I
So
think that's our podcast for today.
I
I
think so. And I hope that someone out there can do something with that information. I'm sure they can. And like I said, if it might even be you helping someone. You never know which chair you're going to land in. I mean, you just
right,
don't. You might be
right.
on this side of it, and you might be on that side of it. So we got to help each other. That's what this
Yeah,
whole podcast is about. So,
absolutely.
so
All
you
right,
guys,
you guys.
we will talk with you next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but as usual, it's gonna be a good topic.
It will be entertaining and informative for sure.
Yes, and worth your time.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for listening.
See y'all next week.